There we go. Electric motion 5.7. From what I understand, it's basically Scorpa designed or Scorpa flavoured frame and running gear, and then electric motion did all the electronics, battery, etc. Because that's their wheelhouse. So rather than try and reinvent the wheel and come up with some shocking frame, they use proven technology, which is quite a good idea. This is pretty much as I got it. Got it last night, and here we are. It's got effectively 4 modes, so you can dial the speed down 3 settings there, and then when you're in the top power setting, there's 2 flavours of it on the handlebars, which is handy. Brake regen button, which is a bit weird. Why it's not just on the throttle when you close the throttle, I don't know. It seems a bit stupid to have to push another button to get it to regen, but we'll see how we get on with that. I'm going to do the first ride, see how we get on around my little bit, and we'll go from there. 50 plus, there we go. Well, that's fun. The torque in this thing is great. Like I say, the power settings are quite good, because if you're doing, I don't know, around trees and stuff, I found it quite unnerving knowing that it was all on tap and it could go horribly wrong at being a novice. So turning it down to the sort of middle setting, it's a lot smoother. Yeah, loads of torque. It's not gonna scare you flat out. But I don't think it's not that machine. It's not really designed for that, is it? I've had a CR250 years ago, and that could be quite scary in places. I've done enduro on the Gas 300 that are set for enduro, heavy flyable and all that. That wasn't scary, but had a lot more top end. But this is a billy goat, this thing. I haven't got much in the way of heels here. I've got a couple that I wouldn't tackle on a little 2-stroke thing we got, PW80. Probably wouldn't pull me up it for a start. But this thing just goes up here. It's brilliant. Yeah, it's good fun. So if you're looking for something that's as quiet as a quiet thing, from that point of view, it's great. You know, we're lucky we haven't got neighbours anywhere near really. But even if you did, they wouldn't know what you're doing. The thing's so quiet, it's ridiculous. Battery life, we were running around on it yesterday, my little one. He couldn't resist. And I've been bombing around on it now for like the last hour, I suppose. And we're about just over halfway full. And I've got no idea how full it was when we got it, because obviously the guy who bought it from me, his nephews are up, and they've been blitzing around on it all afternoon, so I'm guessing it wasn't fully charged. But yeah, so far, quite a nifty little piece of kit. What happens with this, how this evolves, I do not know. But however, 50 plus toys are great, aren't they? So I just charged it up, obviously. As with all things, as soon as you get it back, you give it a bit of a clean, and you start pulling it apart and changing stuff. So in this instance, the guy I bought it from wanted a little bit more top end, so he changed the front sprocket. I think the original was a 9, and he's put a, what have I got here? I think it's a 13, something like that. So the plan is 4 bolts hold that on. That's just a cover. That's the primary drive belt, tooth belt. A bit like the Suron, I believe. So the motor's in there. It reduces it, gear reduction, and then this is your final drive. Change the sprockets. We're used to that. So this should be no more complicated than pulling off that C-clip. Have that sprocket out. It's going to be bigger. The new one should fit in. Put the new or the smaller one in. Pop that on, and then readjust the chain. Make sure the wheel's level, both sides. And then a bit more pep in the lower gears, which is kind of what I use it for, but not so much top end. But to be honest, this thing is doing about 35 mile an hour maximum maybe, and you're screaming. It's on the flat out thing. You're screaming it. It's not pleasant really, but it's not designed for that. If it was, it would have a couple of gears. Then, bang on. But for random trees and things like that, I'm going to want it lower down, and for jumping over stuff, I think the smaller sprocket will suit me better. So right, let's see how we get on changing that bad boy. So sprocket's on. It was an 11, it was on there before. I put it back down to a 9. What you were gaining in top end, yeah, it wasn't really, I don't think it was really worth worrying about. It's better now, it can lift the front wheel a little bit easier. So we've got a couple of logs that I play with, making that a little bit easier now, just to be able to pop that front up a tad, up at me. What I have done though is I've adjusted the throttle, because it had quite a twist before it did anything. Get used to switching that off. Yeah, got quite a twist before it did anything. So I've adjusted it here, and also the regen button. This thing kind of moves and it ends up here, and you just can't get to it when you're standing up. So I don't know if that's a good idea to have it moving in case it gets knocked or whatever, and you can adjust it on the fly. But anyway, I pulled that down so I can get to it in the thumb. Well, it does appear to do engine braking when you pull the clutch in. It's got a clutch on it, this thing. There is nothing subtle about that clutch. It's kind of on or off. Not quite sure how that works. I'm guessing there's some sort of electromechanical gubbins wizardry going on. But however, there we go. 18-inch rear, 21-inch front, which is quite nice. Looks like a proper machine. And it does the job. So far, I'm quite happy. I don't know what the range is going to be like. I've just done the first charge on it. I've got it down to under halfway, but I don't know what it was like when I picked it up. So now's the true story of how good the charge is. I don't like the rear brake. It's too close to my foot. Sooner it stuck out a little bit, made it a little bit easier to get to when you're panicking. Not that I'm panicking, obviously, but you know, these things can happen. Other than that, so far so good. Yeah. Electric motion. There you go. So what happens next? Nobody could harm us. Grateful cause I've got my bro back. Grateful and I constantly show that. I just wanna know if you with me, let me know. I've been on the low. Now this mission is a go. Man, I feel amazing being on this highlight every single day. And man, it's like a highlight. This is what I bathe in, excited because I know I'm going in places. Everything I want is coming to me. Getting DMs asking how much for a feature. Tell them if it's right.